Saturday at 9 on History. Meet every day.
Weapons of mass destruction appear to be a standard feature of our alien spaceship. That's disturbing, but not really surprising. We'd like to assume any alien visitors would be friendly, or at least not belligerent when they touch down on Earth. But the aliens who built this ship clearly would rather be safe than sorry. How else to explain these death ray laser beams built into the ship? Come to think of it, it makes perfect sense to pack heat when you're penetrating space. You'll never know what you'll run into. Maybe you'll encounter hostile creatures along the way. Like us. We're fairly hostile, and we have our own Earth-grown futuristic weaponry. Naturally, they involve laser beams too. And we don't need alien technology. The U.S. military is working on several directed energy weapons.
A laser is just a device that allows you to send out a very coherent beam of light. If you think of a laser pointer that's used commonly now for briefings and stuff like that, it just allows you to get a very intense beam of light that goes a very long distance in a very small area.
In fact, the term laser is an acronym for light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation. Focusing a laser is so simple, it's child's play. Literally.
If you recall when you were a kid, you probably had a magnifying glass, and you used to use the sun to put a beam of light on a leaf or maybe even a bug, and you could create a lot of heat. That's what you basically do with the laser. You focus that beam of light on something that you'd like to damage or destroy, and you hold it in place long enough to heat it up and damage it or destroy it.
Lasers make excellent weapons for two reasons. One, laser beams travel at the speed of light, since that's what lasers are, light. Two, they can be aimed and focused with incredible precision. Not a lot of collateral damage with a laser beam. The first laser was actually a maser developed in the mid-1950s. It didn't use visible light, but instead harnessed microwaves and ammonia gas to create a beam. But by the late 1950s, optical lasers were created, and today they are everywhere.
Lasers are used in CD players, they're in dental drills, you use lasers in measuring devices. Lasers are everywhere pretty much.
Lasers can differ by wavelength or power. Less than a watt of electricity powers most commercial lasers. Military lasers are stronger. At the Laser Effects Facility at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, they can be much stronger. They have to be. Their mission is to blow things up, or at least fry them.
Sector 1, laser on fire.
The laser is called EDCL, and it basically stands for electrodischarge coaxial laser. It's a carbon dioxide laser, but we use 3 different gases to facilitate making the laser beam. We use helium as kind of a lasing medium, and then we use nitrogen and carbon dioxide.
You can't see the beam itself. The laser light is being emitted in the invisible infrared region of the spectrum. Kirtland's facility studies the effects of high-powered lasers on target materials.
For instance, if someone said, we'd like to see what a laser could do to a satellite, we would evaluate the different parts of that satellite to determine how we could damage it.
The laser at Kirtland's facility doesn't usually use enough power to blow things up. It just burns them. But it could if it wanted to.
It depends on how much power that you put onto the target. You can make a very small sized shot, put tons and tons of power into it, and you're going to have a higher heating rate on that target.
But this is just a relatively small laboratory laser. The U.S. Air Force is working on a far larger and more powerful laser weapon, and it flies.
The airborne laser is a 747 airplane. It's a jumbo jet that we put a very sophisticated optical system in the aircraft, a battle management or command and control system, and high energy lasers in the back of that. So think of an airborne laser as a jumbo jet that has a beam of light that comes out the nose of the airplane that can be directed onto a boosting ballistic missile to destroy it.
The airborne laser began as an Air Force program to shoot down short-range missiles. In 2001, it became part of the Missile Defense Program with the goal of destroying medium and even intercontinental ballistic missiles. Infrared cameras are designed to detect a missile launch. Detection information is passed to onboard computers, which direct a turret in the nose of the craft toward the missile. The turret uses two sets of lasers, one to lock on to the target, the other to fire on it and destroy it. With a range of a few hundred miles, a handful of these weapons deployed in hot zones would be a powerful defense.
What the airborne laser actually does is we have a deformable mirror in the optics tray, and that mirror is used to pre-distort the high-energy laser beam. So basically the atmospheric effects between the airplane and the missile are taken out by that pre-distorted beam. Sounds a little like science fiction, but it's actually a concept that's used every day in observatories around the world. Much of that work is done here at Kirtland Air Force Base, so that's a very well-proven technology.
Very impressive, but still light years behind the blaster we have on this ship. But these aren't even the big guns. Remember antimatter? The stuff that combines explosively with matter to produce utter annihilation. Our alien ship supplements its laser weapons with an antimatter torpedo. There is no ignoring that the alien ship bristles with offensive weapons. But are there any defensive weapons? Our engineers believe they've found a device that generates a force field shield. A shield that deflects or absorbs an enemy's blow is an almost perfect defense. Better yet, don't let the enemy know you're there. Every advantage